You all right?
Hello everyone and welcome to Action RPG Build Guide Edition. Today I'm ready to drop on you my new Raging Storm Werewolf. This build is so strong it is pushing easily 50 plus nightmare dungeons at only level 84, and you only have one unique you need for it. As always, I will cover every single facet of the build. Everything is timestamped in the description below if you need to bounce around. Let's not waste any time and jump right into this. Starting off with some gameplay. Now, the skills I'm using for this Raging Storm Werewolf are Blood Howl, Debilitating Roar, Grizzly Rage, and Claw. Only 4 skills are needed on your bar, and you can leave your left click obviously free for movement. Now, this entire build is built around Great Staff of the Crone, which does something very special. Claw is now a Storm skill and also casts Storm Strike, which means you are going to take Storm Strike in your skill tree, which we will cover later in the build, but you do not need it on your bar because Claw is doing it for you. Now, what I'm going to do is showcase gameplay at a Nightmare Dungeon 34, then a Nightmare Dungeon 45, then Nightmare Dungeon 54. So you kind of get an idea with scaling and what this build is capable of. Nightmare Dungeon tier 34. Die, die. Now, in here, I don't want to say you're unkillable because that would not be true, but you are very tanky. So if you got a rock following you or a bubble or a little blow up guys, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. You have so much damage reduction, it's not going to hurt you. But see, right now I'm out of Grizzly Rage. Watch when I go back in. Boom. Now everything will start disintegrating because we're just going to get stronger and stronger. Okay. Nightmare 34, pretty easy. Nightmare Dungeon tier 45. Oh, this is a fun room. Now, obviously, compared to the 34, these enemies are now level 99, and at time of recording, I'm level 84. So they're 15 levels higher. And you could see, yeah, you got to pay a little more attention. You know, your life will bounce up and down a little bit, but still not too bad. Anything in the 40s, I mean, we pretty much wipe out pretty quick. So let's move up. To make this fun, Nightmare Dungeon 54, and I've got the rock following me, which I'm sure is everybody's favorite. These enemies are now 108. Time of recording, I am level 84. They're almost, what, 24? They're 24 levels higher. Now again, compared to the 34 and the 45, you know, it is slow going. And again, you got to pay attention to survivability. But that was an elite. Dead. Oh, another elite. Ooh, we got skulls all over the map. All right, let's see if we can get through this. Oh, this is gonna be fun. There's 3 of them. Ooh. Dead. Back in Grizzly Rage. Alright, paying attention. We got this, even with the rock exploding. Oh, there's a lot of stuff in here. Come on. Piece of cake. Got this. Now let's fight a little Tomb Lord. This is a Nightmare Dungeon tier 41 boss. You know what? I just don't know if he's gonna survive this fight. That was 21 seconds. 41 is too easy, Aaron. Give me something harder. All right. Nightmare Dungeon tier 49. Tier 49. Oh, we're no way we can survive this at level 84. Now let's check out the skills, starting with our generators, which double as our main attacks. You want to max out Claw and Storm Strike. You want to take Fierce Storm for vulnerability and Wild Claw for chance to attack twice. You then come down and get some base crit and Predatory Instinct, 6%. Looking at our defenses, you want to max out Blood Howl and Debilitating Roar. And both of these you want to take Preserving. You are pushing high-end content and you want the attack speed and the heal. You then put 1 point into Fortitude so you can allow yourself to put 3 points into Vigilance. And it's very easy to keep this 15% damage reduction up because obviously you have 2 defensive skills that you're going to be triggering all the time. Nothing in Companion. Then coming down here, you want 1 point into Elemental, 1 point into Atmosphere, 3 into Electric Shock, and 3 into Bad Omen. What this is going to do is do more damage for your lightning strikes and call down lightning strikes while you are hitting. You then want to max out Grizzly Rage. Grizzly Rage, the reason why we put Rage in the name of this build is because Grizzly Rage is so awesome and just works perfectly with this build, and you can almost maintain it the entire time. We will discuss that in a second. You then want 3 points in Defiance, just some added damage, 3 points into Natural Disaster, more added damage. And then lastly, down here, you actually have an option. Okay, if you take Ferocity, your 6 hit is going to do a lot more damage. So you're going to get bigger hits, more damage. But you can also take Rampage that is going to give you more attack speed as you shapeshift in and out of human and werewolf form. And this lasts for 15 seconds. So if you want higher attack speed, take Rampage. If you want bigger hits, take Ferocity. For me, I already have, I think 65% to attack speed. And I know it maxes at 100, but I like having the bigger hits. But either way, you can go either way. That is personal preference. Moving over to the boons, and again, you have an option here as well. At the top, you want to take Wariness, standard 10% reduction from elites. But on the second bar here, I have Wrath, which is 30% critical strike damage for bigger hits. But you could go into swooping attacks if you want to boost up your attack speed. Again, personal preference, they both work great. You then want to take Calamity for extended duration of your Grizzly Rage. And then on the bottom here, both of these are so important to the build. Calm Before the Storm, a natural magic skill, have a 10% chance to reduce the cooldown of your ultimate skill by 2 seconds. We spec into Lucky Hit in our gear, we have a 20% chance of Lucky Hit. That means that there's a chance that when you're in Grizzly Rage, the second it ends, you can go back into it and you can have a 100% upcharge on Grizzly Rage as long as you're hitting enough enemies and you have enough Lucky Hit. And then also obviously Masso, you want to take this for just leech as you are hitting. Now let's check out the Paragon board for this Raging Storm Werewolf. And I will stop on each board, so if you want to screenshot it, you can. Now remember, at time of recording, I'm only level 85. I actually just hit level 85 while recording. So a lot of the points are missing. If you want to see the full breakdown for a level 100, second link in the description will be the full written guide over on Icy Veins. And normally when the post or the video goes up on YouTube, it's 2 days later, the Icy Veins written guide is out. All right, base board, pretty simple, pretty standard. And what we're starting with is Exploit. We want to make sure the enemies we are fighting are vulnerable, and this is going to give us some vulnerable damage. Moving on to our second board, which is Thunderstruck. You want to go left first and grab all of these nodes. This is going to be critical strike damage and vulnerable damage. And then the actual Thunderstruck node gives us 30% increased damage as well. As you come up, the second glyph that we have taken is Territorial. And this is almost 60% damage to close enemies and an additional 10% damage reduction against close enemies. Absolutely huge. Give you a second if you want to screenshot it. All right, moving up to our third board, and this is Lust for Carnage. And the third glyph that we are taking is Werewolf. This is actually 60.2% damage while in werewolf form and gain an additional 10% damage reduction while in werewolf form. Again, absolutely great for survivability. Now, something I want to call out up here is attack speed is very important for this build. And when you go up here, you can get 2.5% attack speed, 1.3, 1.3, and 1.3. So just taking this little leg up here, you're going to boost up your attack speed. All right, screenshot. Moving over to our fourth board, and here we are taking Undaunted. Now, Undaunted, check this out, 73.7% damage while fortified, and again, an additional 10% damage reduction while you are fortified. So that's 30% damage reduction just from your glyphs alone, and obviously just a major source of damage. When you get your big hits with your basic skill, you're going to be hitting for 300,000 to 400,000 damage just by using your generator skill, which is just absolutely crazy. And again, this is where our points end. Moving over to everyone's favorite gear, starting with gems. Now for your weapon, you want to put in Topaz, which is going to give you 40% damage to your basic skills. For your armor, you want to use Sapphires, which is going to further give you more damage reduction. And in your jewelry, you want to put in Skulls for base armor. Now, for this build, all you need, and I said this at the beginning, is Great Staff of the Crone. There's other builds that use 4 uniques or 2 uniques. None of those are needed. All you need is this staff. Everything else you can just craft or find on your own, but this item is required. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each item individually, and I want to be as clear as humanly possible. This gear is not great. We are pushing 55, 56 nightmare dungeons at level 84, 85 with not great gear. Okay, just want to make that known. By no means am I saying my gear is perfect. All right, helmet, armor, and this is obviously going to showcase the aspects as well. Gloves. Ooh, you now turn into a dire werewolf. Pants. Damage reduction. Boots. Debilitating roars, now a werewolf skill. Amulet. Extended duration of grisly rage. Ring. And ring. Now, I really want to beat this home, okay, that the full written guide that goes over each aspect and the affixes you want best in slot are all rated on Icy Veins for the written guide. I don't want this video to be 30 minutes long, so I'm just kind of giving you a showcase of what I'm using to match with the gameplay that you saw earlier. But go over to Icy Veins. It answers all of those other questions. Now let's break down our character stats, starting with core stats. At time of recording, I just hit level 85. And what you want to do is find as much willpower as you can. Why? Because willpower increases skill damage. Pretty self-explanatory. Our second would be dexterity, and then intelligence and strength. Those are tied, but these are the 2 you would like to find, with willpower being number 1. Now looking at your critical strike chance and critical strike damage. Our crit chance is over 30%, which is actually, we're going to be able to boost that. And then our critical strike damage is around 330%. And you can improve these through your gear as well. And Grisly Rage is going to give you tons of attack power. I will showcase that in 1 second. As you come down, there's a stat you really need to focus on, and that is your lucky hit chance. Remember, lucky hits have a chance to pull down the cooldown of your Grisly Rage, so that basically you could stay in Grisly Rage all the time. So do not sleep on lucky hit chance. 20% feels pretty good. As long as I have mob density in these dungeons, I can maintain Grisly Rage the entire time. Now it's time to showcase some of that Grisly Rage power. Now I want you to pay attention to attack power. Pay attention to attack power. We are now in Grisly Rage. Okay, and we're just killing regular enemies. Oh, a lot of regular. What's over here? Okay. Check out our attack power. You cannot kill me. And Grisly Rage is about to end. 12,700? Right around there, 12,000. And as we came out of Grisly Rage, you would notice Grisly Rage isn't on cooldown, so you can go right back into it. Okay, so just know the difference between being in Grisly Rage for this build and being out of it is huge. All right, everyone, that's the build guide. What do you think of my Raging Storm Werewolf? Is there anything I missed? Is there anything I can do to push this to the next level? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. 2 asks at the end of the video. Ask number 1. I'm hoping today is the day I have earned your subscription. Hoping today is the day you make the decision to push that little red button. I would really appreciate it, but of course, only if you think I deserve it. Ask number 2, check out my Patreon. Thank you to the first 85 members that have signed up. Become an instant ARPG VIP and get Patreon exclusive content at the first link in the description. I get asked all the time, Aaron, what is the best way to support? And Patreon is truly it. And you get access to all the bonus material. And we could chit chat every day in the VIP lounge. Now, remember, I am active on Icy Veins. So every build guide you will see for D4 and in the future for Last Epoch will be over on Icy Veins. And this build, the entire written guide will be in the second link in the description. Over 4,000 words. And I'm always looking for feedback as well if there's something that isn't answered in that written guide. That's all I've got. Hopefully you were entertained or at least learned something. Aaron, out.
You